Welcome to a Fireside Reading of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain. Chapter 24, Part 1, A Rival Magician. My influence in the Valley of Holiness was something prodigious now. It seemed worthwhile to try to turn it to some valuable account. The thought came to me the next morning and was suggested by my seeing one of my knights who came in the soap line. One of my knights who was in the soap line come riding in. According to history, the monks of this place 2 centuries before had been worldly minded enough to want to wash. It might be that there was a leaven of this unrighteousness still remaining, so I sounded a brother. "Wouldn't you like a bath?" He shuddered at the thought of the peril of it to the well, but he said with feeling, "One needs not to ask that of a poor body who has not known that blessed refreshment sith that he was a boy. Would God I might wash me, but it may not be, fair sir. Tempt me not, it is forbidden." And then he sighed in such a sorrowful way that I was resolved he should have at least one layer of his real estate removed, if it sized up my whole influence and bankrupted the pile. So I went to the abbot and asked for a permit for this brother. He blenched at the idea. I don't mean that you could see him blench, for of course you couldn't see it without you scraped him. And I didn't care enough about it to scrape him, but I knew the blench was there just the same, and with a book's cover thickness of the surface too, blenched and trembled. He said, "Ah, son, ask what else thou wilt, and it is thine, and freely granted out of a grateful heart. But this, would you drive away the blessed water again?" "No, father, I will not drive it away. I have mysterious knowledge which teaches me that there was an error that other time when it was thought the institution of the bath banished the fountain." A large interest began to show up in the old man's face. "My knowledge informs me that the bath was innocent of the misfortune which was caused by quite another sort of sin." "These are brave words, but right welcome, if they be true." "They are true indeed. Let me build the bath again, father. Let me build it again, and the fountain shall flow forever." "You promise this? You promise it? Say the word, say you promise it." "I do promise it." "Then will I have the first bath myself. Go, get ye to your work. Tarry not, but go." I and my boys were at work straight off. The ruins of the old bath were there, yet in the basement of the monastery, not a stone missing. They had been left just so all these lifetimes, and avoided with a pious fear as things accursed. In 2 days we had it all done, and the water in a spacious pool of clear, pure water that a body could swim in. It was running water, too. It came in and went out through the ancient pipes. The old abbot kept his word and was the first to try it. He went down black and shaky, leaving the whole black community above troubled and worried and full of bodings, and he came back white and joyful, and the game was made. Another triumph scored. It was a good campaign that we made in that Valley of Holiness, and I was very well satisfied and ready to move on now, but I struck a disappointment I caught a heavy cold, and it started up an old lurking rheumatism of mine. Of course, the rheumatism hunted up my weakest place and located itself there. This was the place where the abbot put his arms about me and mashed me, what time he was moved to testify his gratitude to me with an embrace. When at last I got out, I was a shadow, but everybody was full of attentions and kindnesses, and these brought cheer back into my life and were the right medicine to help a convalescent swiftly up toward health and strength again. So I gained fast. Sandy was worn out with nursing, so I made up my mind to turn out and go a cruise alone, leaving her at the nunnery to rest up. My idea was to disguise myself as a free man of peasant degree and wander through the country a week or two on foot. This would give me a chance to eat and lodge with the lowliest and poorest class of free citizens on equal terms. There was no other way to inform myself perfectly of their everyday life and the operation of the laws upon it. If I went among them as a gentleman, there would be restraints and conventionalities which would shut me out from their private joys and troubles, and I should get no further than the outside shell. One morning, I was out on a long walk to... Excuse me. One morning, I was out on a long walk to get up muscle for my trip and had climbed the ridge which bordered the northern extremity of the valley when I came upon an artificial opening in the face of a low precipice and recognized it by its location as a hermitage, which had often been pointed out to me from a distance as the den of a hermit of high renown for dirt and austerity. I knew he had lately been offered a situation in the Great Sahara, where lions and sandflies made the hermit life peculiarly attractive and difficult, and had gone to Africa to take possession, so I thought I'd look in and see how the atmosphere of this den agreed with its reputation. My surprise was great. The place was newly swept and scoured. Then there was another surprise. Back in the gloom of the cavern, I heard the clink of a little bell, and then this exclamation. "Hello, Central, is this you, Camelot? Behold, thou mayest glad thy heart, and thou hast faith to believe the wonderful when that is cometh in unexpected guise and maketh itself manifest in impossible places. Here standeth in the flesh his mightiness, the boss, and with thine own ears shall ye speak him with." Now, what a radical reversal of things this was. What a jumbling together of extravagant incongruities. What a fantastic conjunction of opposites and irreconcilables. The home of the bogus miracle become the home of a real one. The den of a medieval hermit turned into a telephone office. The telephone clerk stepped into the light, and I recognized one of my young fellows. I said, "How long has this office been established here, old Theus?" "But since midnight, fair Sir Boss, an it please you. We saw many lights in the valley, and so judged it well to make a station, for that where so many lights be, needs must they indicate a town of goodly size." "Quite right. It isn't a town in the customary sense, but it's a good stand anyway. Do you know where you are?" "Of that I have had no time to make inquiry, for whenas my comradeship moved hence upon their labours, leaving me in charge, I got me to needed rest, purposing to inquire when awaked and report the place's name to Camelot for record." "Well, this is the Valley of Holiness. It didn't take. He didn't start at the name as I'd supposed he would. He merely said, "I will so report it." Why, the surrounding regions are filled with the noise of late wonders that have happened here. You didn't hear of them? Ah, you will remember we move by night and avoid speech withal. We learn no but that we get by the telephone from Camelot. Why, they know all about this thing. Haven't they told you anything about the great miracle of the restoration of a holy fountain? Oh, that! Indeed, yes, but the name of this valley doth woundily differ from the name of that one. Indeed, to differ wide were not possible. What was that name, then? The Valley of Hellishness. That explains it. Confound a telephone anyway. It's the very demon for conveying similarities of sound that are miracles of divergence from similarity of sense. But no matter, you know the name of the place now. Call up Camelot. He did, and had Clarence sent for him. It was good to hear my boy's voice again. It was like being home. After some affectionate interchanges and some account of my late illness, I said, "What's new?"
"The king and queen and many of the court do start even in this hour to go to your valley to pay pious homage to the waters ye have restored, and cleanse themselves of sin, and see the place where the infernal spirits spouted true hell flames to the clouds. And ye listen sharply, you may hear me wink, and hear me likewise smile a smile, sith 'twas I that made selection of those flames from out your stock, and sent them to your order."
Does the king know the way to this place?
"The king? No, nor to any other in his realms, mayhap, but the lads that help you with your miracle will be his guide, and lead the way, and appoint the places for rests at noons and sleeps at night."
This will bring them here when?
"Mid-afternoon or later the third day."
Anything else in the way of news?
"The king hath begun the raising of the standing army ye suggested to him. One regiment is complete and officered."
The mischief! I wanted a main hand in that myself. There is only one body of men in the kingdom that are fitted to officer in a regular army.
"Yes, and now ye will marvel to know there's not so much as one West Pointer in that regiment."
What are you talking about? Are you in earnest?
"It is truly as I have said."
Why, this makes me uneasy. Who were chosen, and what was the method? Competitive examination?
"Indeed, I know naught of the method. I but know this. These officers be all of noble family, and are born, what is it you call it, chuckleheads."
There's something wrong, Clarence.
"Comfort yourself, then, for 2 candidates for a lieutenancy do travel hence with the king, young nobles both, and if you but wait where you are, you will hear them questioned."
That is news to the purpose. I will get one West Pointer in anyway. Mount a man and send him to that school with a message. Let him kill horses if necessary, but he must be there before sunset tonight, and say,
"There is no need. I have laid a ground wire to the school. Prithee, let me connect you with it."
It sounded good. In this atmosphere of telephones and lightning communication with distant regions, I was breathing the breath of life again after long suffocation. I realized then what a creepy, dull, inanimate horror this land had been to me all these years, and how I had been in such a stifled condition of mind as to have grown used to it almost beyond the power to notice it. I gave my order to the superintendent of the academy personally, I also asked him to bring me some paper and a fountain pen and a box or so of safety matches. I was getting tired of doing without these conveniences. I could have them now, as I wasn't going to wear armor any more at present, and therefore could get at my pockets.
Part 2 tomorrow, same time and place, 5 Pacific, at Fireside Reading on Instagram. I do hope you can join me. Until then, everyone stay very, very well indeed. Good night.